last episode, we started exploring the topic of joy. I shared with you the perspectives of several women and set the stage for the journey we'll go on this season. In this episode, we will explore the situations that lead to personal reinvention in midlife and how the process can lead you to reclaim joy in your life. You'll see how embracing change can open new opportunities for you to experience joy. You're listening to Change is Big and Small with Damian President. Change is Big and Small will help you take action in your life with intention and purpose. In each episode, I invite you to take action to live the life that you want. Now, midlife is naturally a time of change for women. We're experiencing all sorts of changes in our body, our hormones, our families, and in our environment. This could be going through perimenopause or menopause, caring for adult parents or grandchildren, or becoming empty nesters, among many other possibilities. The period of midlife starts at different ages and looks different for each person, but all of us experience some sort of transition or change during that time frame. And the nature of those changes often require us to take a look at ourselves and decide on what we want going forward. Brené Brown calls it an unraveling, and she talks about how our old coping strategies, the ones that worked earlier in our lives, no longer work. So here's a quote directly from one of her articles. Midlife is when the university gently places her hands on your shoulders, pulls you close, and whispers in your ear, "I'm not screwing around." All of this pretending and performing, these coping mechanisms that you've developed to protect yourself from feeling inadequate and getting hurt, has to go. Your armor is preventing you from growing into your gifts. I understand that you needed this protection when you were small. I understand that you believed your armor could help you secure all of the things you needed to feel worthy and lovable. But you're still searching, and you're more lost than ever. Time is growing short. There are unexplored adventures ahead of you. You can't live the rest of your life worried about what other people think. You were born worthy of love and belonging. Courage and daring are coursing through your veins. You were made to live and love with your whole heart. It's time to show up and be seen. Think about that. You could succumb to loneliness, to pain, to discomfort. That sense of not quite fitting into your life, your body, or the world as you've done before. Or you can take the opportunity to redefine yourself in a way that ignites your sense of adventure, fun, and personal fulfillment. When we talk about midlife, that can mean different things to different people. When I talk about midlife, I'm thinking about the age range of 45 to 65. However, if you're not in that age range, but you consider yourself to be in midlife, welcome. I don't feel the need to tell anyone whether they are in midlife or not. It's kind of funny that now that I'm well into my 40s and can see 50 heading my way, I realize that my childish ideas of middle age are nothing like the reality. I thought 50 was midlife, the top of that hill. I imagined it would all be downhill from here. Now I think about all the years I have ahead of me. So when I think about the years I have left in my life, it seems obvious to me that I want to examine my life and make sure that I reclaim joy in both the old ways that still work for me and in new ways that may not even be in my awareness yet. Carl Jung said, "We cannot live the afternoon of life according to the program of life's morning. For what was great in the morning will be little at evening, and what in the morning was true will at evening have become a lie." I think he's missing the idea that some of the things that were little in the morning could be greater in the afternoon. For example, midlife might be a time when you have more time for yourself because you don't have young children at home that need caregiving from you, or because you're more settled in your career. This could be a time for you to experience joy through a new hobby, spending times with friends or family members, or even going back to school and experiencing that joy of learning. Can you think of anyone in your life who reinvented themselves in midlife and seemed happier for it? I can think of many examples. Friends who got married or divorced, changed jobs or countries, took up new hobbies, for example, pickleball, etc. So, when you think about your life, what's your vision of midlife for yourself? You don't have to redefine yourself in midlife, but I think that's a missed opportunity if you don't. So, for example, a 2024 study from the Frontiers in Public Health highlights that adults who actively engaged in leisure activities in midlife, whether physical or social, were more likely to report higher levels of subjective well being. These individuals were more likely to experience joy if they participated in leisure activities. Now, a key element of reinvention in psychological studies or psychological spheres is the concept of self authorship. Many people in midlife begin to reject external expectations and societal pressures, focusing instead on building a life that aligns with their authentic selves. Research has shown that people who adopt a growth mindset during this period of life, actively seeking out new experiences and challenges, report greater happiness and lower stress levels. They're more likely to see midlife as an opportunity for renewal rather than a time of stagnation. This ties into what psychologists refer to as neuroplasticity, or the brain's ability to continue evolving and adapting, even in later life stages. So, engaging in new learning, taking risks, and cultivating novel experiences, those stimulate the brain, and those foster not only emotional resilience but also joy. We often hear the adage, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and that is simply a myth. Our brains are wired to grow, and midlife reinvention taps into that natural ability. Furthermore, research has shown some advantages of our brains in midlife, such as being more calm and having greater adaptability in social situations. In contrast, people who remain stuck in old patterns during midlife often report feeling stagnant or dissatisfied. So, resisting change or holding on to outdated routines in midlife may actually make you more prone to depression and loneliness later in life. Without active engagement in redefining your purpose or exploring new avenues for fulfillment, you may find yourself less joyful or feeling a sense of purposelessness. Now, these examples show how embracing reinvention at midlife helps you reconnect with what truly matters to you, giving you the opportunity to bring more joy into your everyday life. This means that midlife can become a chapter for you of adventure, renewal, and definitely profound satisfaction. Now, I expect that for most of you listening, as you started to create your vision of midlife, you started experiencing doubt and fear. I know that has happened to me, and it is completely normal. One of my mentors, Brooke Castillo, talks about why transitional change is so important. She uses this analogy of balance beams. I love watching gymnastics, but I have never been on balance beams myself, but I can understand the analogy, and I think you will too. So imagine you're on balance beams and you need to let go of one to reach for another. Now, you don't know if you're going to make it. And this is what transitions at midlife can feel like. You're giving up something familiar for something new, and that can really make you feel any number of emotions, maybe fear, excitement, exhilaration, curiosity, etc. These emotions aren't necessarily good or bad, but some of them are more helpful to you than others. So, how you experience your transitions in midlife depends on how you think about them. If you think you're too old to try something new, you're going to behave very differently than if you think that you may discover something that you can enjoy for many years ahead. Many of us also have to manage family or social expectations, and you may be afraid of how people are going to react or whether they're going to judge you, especially if you have people pleasing tendencies. But if now is not the time to rediscover yourself and reclaim joy, When will that time be? If you're at all curious or open to the idea of joy in midlife, you can get my free guide, 5 Secrets to Rediscover Joy and Passion in Midlife. And that's available on my website, and there'll be a link in the show notes. You can definitely navigate your transitions with more ease. And here are 5 steps to help you. I suggest journaling your responses. 1. Reflect on this period of your life and how it's different. What has changed with your finances, your health, your career, and your relationships? Consider all of the parts of life that are important to you. 2. Now think about the things in your life that bring you joy and those that do the opposite at this stage. The goal here is to figure out what you want more of in your life and what you want less of in your current experience. 3. We're going to do some time traveling. Think back to the previous stages of your life. What are some things from these stages that are missing now, and which of them would you like to reintroduce in your life at this stage? 4. The next step is for you to make 2 lists. Things I want more of in my life because they bring me joy, and things I want less of in my life because they steal my joy. I want to point out that hard things, challenging things can still contribute to joy. Remember that one of the definitions of joy from episode 1 is a source or cause of delight. This means that you can experience joy even while caring for a sick family member, for example. We contain multitudes, and we can experience delight, and we can experience pain within moments of each other. Now, the final step is for you to look at your list and decide how you'll create the conditions for joy, as discussed from Valerie Kaur's quote last week. So, how do your friends, your family, and the members of your community factor in? I believe that a supportive community, or even just one person, can be a mirror that helps you understand who you truly are and what you really want. Think of the spaces and places where you will spend your time. Notice what you already have, what you want to add more of, and what you want to subtract with each question. There'll be a link where you can download a template with these questions as well, and you can find that in the show notes. Just the other day, I was waiting at the tram stop, and there was a child, maybe 5 or 6 years old, and she was with her parents. Well, I assume they were parents. But she was laughing and she was dancing all by herself. I have no idea what prompted this, but it caught my eye because of the joyful expression. What this brought up for me was joy by association. How watching joy can also be an uplifting moment. Such small actions, intentional ways of looking at the world, can lead to a deeper sense of joy. You can start by trying something new, focusing on self-care, or adjusting your mindset. These small actions create the conditions for joy to flourish. Now, I want to take a chance to give you some real-life examples of midlife reinvention. There are many well-known individuals who have reinvented themselves later in life, and that can be motivating or encouraging. So let's see how many of those 3 people you recognize. It's a quiz if you find those fun, but no pressure. So number 1, this woman published her first cookbook, Mastering the Art of French Cooking, at age 49. She then became a television personality, inspiring countless individuals to explore the joys of cooking. Did you guess right? Her name is Julia Child. This next woman, she was 40 when she began a fashion business. She had worked as an editor and an accessory designer for almost 20 years. And then she opened her first bridal boutique, which quickly gained popularity, making her one of the most famous bridal designers today. And her name is Vera Wang. Now for our last example. This author began writing in her 40s, but she didn't achieve fame until she published her first book at the age of 65. She wrote a beloved series about her childhood on the American frontier called Little House. And her name is Laura Ingalls Wilder. Think of those examples I shared of women in midlife or women that you personally know who inspire you. What can you learn about their reinvention journey that can excite you for your own transition? When you're intentional about your midlife transition, you can redefine yourself to be able to live the life that you want. As you align with your values and desires, you can create space for new joys to enter your life. Reinvention is about creating the conditions for joy. So, your invitation this week is to engage with the 5 steps of reinvention. Once again, there is a worksheet that you can download. It's a Google Docs sheet. And if you click the link in the show notes, you will get a copy that you can fill out for yourself. But it's your one wild and precious life. It's your unique journey. So you get to decide how much of this work you want to do and at what pace. Make a copy of the worksheet or download it, get started, and decide whether you'll fill it in today or over some days or some weeks. But even if that's too much for you right now, follow your curiosity. See which questions you want to play with. If you want to journal, if you want to talk to a friend. Really approach this in a way that's fun and that's interesting to you, not as another chore for you to do and something that is unexciting and takes away your joy. I'd love to hear your feedback on the episode or on the guide, and let me know about your reinvention journey. If you have a story of reinvention or any challenges you've encountered in your midlife journey, send me a message, contact@changesbigandsmall.com. Join me next week and I'll be exploring the concept of purpose and how that relates to joy. If you've enjoyed listening to this episode, please help me share it with more people by leaving a review. You can find an easy link for reviews in the show notes. Remember, change begins with one small step. Have a great week.